here. And remind me, what rank game is this?
Empty your mind.
What rank was I at the time? Let me have a look.
It can be close. It doesn't have to be perfect.
In that case, I probably was around goldish.
Okay.
Probably. No, maybe. Yeah, gold.
Stick to
Yeah,
the plan.
season I was
And if you get
24,
into
55,
trouble,
almost
I'll bail
plat,
you
pretty
out.
much.
Okay, so gold Borderland plat game, no problem.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Greetings.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective.
Okay, going up here. You're playing with Reinhardt as your tank partner. That's a lot,
Yeah.
like a lot of damage that you just took there, and you probably realized that. And was there really ever
Yeah.
much chance that you were going to get value there?
Not at the time. No, I realized that at the time. Like I immediately saw the soldier and I think the Genji, and then I saw the soldiers get damage boost. So I was like, okay, shit, I'm probably
Sure.
gonna get a lot of damage taken there. So
Yep.
I
So
planned. Yeah.
you could have responded immediately by tucking back here as soon as you realized what was going on. But honestly, I don't really expect anyone to be holding here for you to be able to hook or get a meaningful right click against. Like very, very rare. So what I'd actually recommend is either you just wait and advance behind your Reinhardt, use him as part of your advance, or if your team's going there, that's fine. You can advance on the off angle here and go take this. I wouldn't really ever recommend that you're up here, and especially that you're up here and you sort of go first, because that only matters if there's going to be something for you to immediately hook, like a diva that's scouting that maybe you can pull in before she gets away. And that's really the only thing I can think of that you're terribly likely to run into. So I just wouldn't recommend that you push this early. This is fine. This is fine. So now the problem that you run it, well, we'll deal. That's fine. I'm going to be okay.
Mr. Hook, cut us off.
Yeah. Good. I mean, there was 3 of you. I'm not sure I'd have committed an 8-second hook, but hey.
Yeah.
Objective is mine. Be quicker.
No, you can go deal with her. Might as well. Like, your team is going to hold this just fine. Your Ryan is covering the other direction. You're good to go make sure that, yeah. Again, I don't really need to hook the baby diva. Like, it's not going to matter because this is cleanup of a fight, but I'd probably just finish that off with left clicks.
I was thinking because if it's just like one guy there and we've got no worry of other people coming around, surely if I miss the hook like I did there, it wouldn't really matter too much because I've got nobody else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
what I mean.
you're right. It's cleanup. It doesn't matter that much. On the other hand, I'm greedy and I'd go, I bet I can finish you with the left click, and then maybe I go up here and look for staggers type thing. But you are correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be
Best
terribly
to save
critical.
it rather than best to save it rather than waste target.
We'd like to get the high ground control, but our team's timing is just not great here.
Surrender to my will.
Okay, now our team's timing is fine, and we have to go get a control of something. So this is what we'd want to go get control of. Like, we're Hog, we would prefer not to be playing down main. We would prefer to get control of a side, get control of a side. It's a little too late to get control of this, so we would be looking for, hey, what's going on in the right? And it turns out you would have saved your Genji's life if you'd gone that way. And you'd have probably saved your Reaper's life too. So that's unfortunate. I mean, I think you immediately realized that breather probably wasn't your favorite. Oh, look, I've lost 100 HP, and I'm surrounded by supports, and no one can follow up on this damage.
It's a very bad habit. I need to, what HP would you recommend? Because I usually try and make it so that if I see I'm in the 300s, then I hit heal. But would you say it takes less than that, or?
No. So what I'd say for your breather is you're looking to use your breather for 2 specific things. You are looking to use your breather to sustain you when you're on an off angle or a flank, right? So when you don't have your supports with you, you're looking to use it to sustain you, or you're looking to use it when you're sort of tanking as part of your getting out process. And you could say that was this. Hey, I'm using breather to get out. I'm using breather to retreat, etc. I just like your threshold for damage to be a little little higher than that. I'd have just liked a little bit more awareness. Like, conceptually, this was sort of like, hey, I'm being pressured by the opponent. I'm going to use my breather to help get me out. The thing is, you just really didn't need 50% damage reduction to get out, and breather is such an inefficient ult charge thing, where it's like I would so much rather give this ult charge to my Ana, or in this case to my Moira, than get whole hog ult charge. So it's okay. I'm not going to set a health threshold for you, and I'm going to say that conceptually this is okay if, hey, I'm doing a retreating breather when I'm sort of on main, etc. there, but like you need to sort of be getting it just needs to be more value. Like, we could say, hey, it's 300 health, but I'm not actually going to say that because that's not really the answer. The answer is you have to estimate the incoming damage, and the incoming damage was such that you weren't ever really scared of getting eliminated. Do you sort of follow what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I got what you
Okay.
mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Nim.
Close the angle. You're not going to do this. Like, you're not going to do this even if you hook this diva. Your team isn't here. They're a good 2 seconds out. You're just totally in the open, and it's actually hard for you to get out now. Like, if these guys do decide to push you, you don't really love this, do you? Like, are you actively wanting this fight right now, or are you going, hey, I'd like to get my hook? Let me rephrase this. If you miss your hook, are you going to like this fight?
Probably not. No.
Right. So, like, I
Yeah.
don't actually want to push this yet. I want to wait just a couple more seconds for my team to be here, and then I want to go up and get control of this. I don't want to play here because I'm just totally in the open with no cover available, nowhere for me to go, and I'm going to have to do take a breather retreat type thing a long way like that. And that's not really my favorite way of playing Hog. Your favorite way of playing Hog. You just don't know it yet. It's not your favorite way of playing Hog. Okay. So we could turn here. We could, look up here. We could do a couple things to get our hand in the way here so that headshots aren't a problem. We also, no. We can't just end the breather here. So here we go. You're taking too much damage. You're at half health. You use breather. Fine. You use breather. You use breather to go get yourself cover, right? So that you can then play from cover. You use breather to, like, get out, right? No, you're just sort of standing here with your breather. And as we just discussed, that's not really something we can do with breather. It's not like I'm here and I'm just using it to sustain myself. I'm either using it to get out or I'm using it to sustain myself on an angle. Like, if I was over here alone, I might need to sustain myself over here so I can continue operating from here. But I'm here with my core, so I better get myself to cover or I better get myself out if I'm using this breather. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah. I get
Okay.
what you mean.
Because now you're on the front line and you don't have breather, and this is scary.
Yeah. I don't know how I didn't see that Reaper on the. Oh wait, no, he's a
It's your
teammate.
Reaper.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. I've got the colors the other way around. Red is enemy for me, so it's a bit confusing.
Yeah, no, replays are funny like that, where sometimes you load up as blue, sometimes you load up as red.
Yeah, just ignore it. That was not stupid.
Okay. You could have made it in here in plenty of time, but okay.
Oh god. Oh, I don't know what that was. There's another stupid moment with D.Va ult later on in the game. We'll see.
Okay. You just like proving that you can. I get it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah,
Okay.
bring it on.
So I don't actually love that you're playing so tight with your Reinhardt here. Like, you're doing this a lot, where I thought for a moment your Reinhardt was here and you started to go over here, and I'm like, oh, he gets it. He's going to play some off angles. And I liked that, but I've seen you sort of gone back and you're now playing mid and you're now playing mid, etc. When, what's wrong with playing from here? What's wrong with playing from here? What's wrong with playing from here? Like, I don't really want you stacked on top of your Rein because it's the easiest thing for them to answer. They're like, yes, if they answer it with a Rein shield, you help break the Rein shield, and that's cool. And you keep the Rein honest in terms of, oh, if he goes for a fire strike, you could hook him, or a charge, you could hook him. Like, you protect your Rein a little bit like that, but you actually protect your Rein more if you're threatening from a different angle, because then the Rein is like, well, I'm trying to block you. Well, I'm trying to block you. Well, I'm trying to block you. Well, I want to advance on the Rein to swing on him. Oh, shoot, I get hooked. Well, I want to advance on the Hog. Oh, shoot, that exposes my team to the Core's fire from behind my Rein. Like, you do want to go, I am this big, bulky hero with breather, with 600 HP, with a medium range threat. You want to be looking a little bit more to get your off angles. This would be too deep right now, but, like, this is where this would be a more normal place for you to be. Let's see if you can evolve this. Obviously, if you just hit hooks, everything gets easier. Okay. Again, you're going for more here, and I'm not sure I understand why. Generally in Overwatch, the team with more and greater angles wins. And if they have someone here or here, like in your backline, that's a pretty deep angle, right? Like the measurement of the angle from here all the way over to here is a pretty big angle. I would much rather clear this. I would much rather deal with this threat that is already inside my team. Even if it was still up here, I would much rather deal with this threat that is inside my team than try to go deal with new threats that aren't really that dangerous to us yet. So, like, we're going to deal with this before we push out to go, you know, find one new to play with. I'm not a huge fan of this breather again. So, like, you're here. I don't like that you're walking into this dragon either, obviously.
Yeah,
I don't
I know
really
what he's
need
doing.
this breather. I've got Coalescence going. I've got 500 HP. I'm with my Rhine. Like, I'm pretty good. No, why do you want to... Okay, who do you want to hook here?
It was the break, but then she got a shield up.
Right, but conceptually, who do you want to hook here?
Mercy, not Mercy, sorry, Diva. I saw
Why?
the Mercy in her name. She's antied and she got low health.
It's not actually just that. It's she's just going to DM the Brig. If you get this past the shield and you actually hook the Brig, and she's any good, she's just going to be like, no. And she's going to throw DM up. Maybe she's going to boost her a step, etc. to help block it. But you generally have to either go, hey, I'm out of her DM range, or I'm out of her DM range and she can't respond, or I have to hook her first. If you hook other people, good divas, as you get better, are just going to be like, yep, booster DM, booster DM,
By
whatever.
DM,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. By DM, do you mean like
Defense matrix.
using the defense matrix? Sorry, yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking damage boost. What the fuck?
No.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that happen a couple times where they rush in and they just matrix, and I'm like, oh fuck, like why?
Right, exactly.
yeah.
So you just have to sort of understand that she's kind of, you've got to know where she is and that she can't respond because she doesn't have boosters, or she's too far away even to boost in time, or you've got to hook her first. Fortunately, she's a pretty big, easy to hook target, and she can't DM hook to protect herself, so hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Right idea. Take a breather. Fine. We kind of want to micro this breather, though, so that this Hanzo can't accidentally finish us, right? Because we are pretty low health, and these guys could hurt us. So there's a couple ways that we could do this. Like, Hog's head is bigger in front of him than it is behind him, so we could turn around. That would be one option. Or we could try to turn our screen in such a way that our arm is blocking more of the shots, because our arm is sort of going up here. You see, like, and it sort of blocks like that. So those are both options. We can turn around, or we can turn to sort of get our arm in the way. And when we turn around and use breather, yes, some of his head is back like that, so it's a little bit bigger than normal. But, like, it's, you know, you're still competing against, hey, we don't really want to get shot there. So, like, you can micro a little bit, but in general, this would have been a take a breather, turn around, walk out type thing. I'm not sure why your breather... why you're staying here for this breather like that, if that makes sense.
It's mostly because I knew I had my hook immediately after, and I saw that the Hanzo had just died, so I'm thinking, oh, okay, myself and Moira can easily take this guy on.
Sure,
and then
but you can retreat to here for your breather, and then re-peek and hook quite easily. Like, that's all I'm asking for. I'm just asking for literally go find a corner, literally find a go moment of cover. I'm not asking you to retreat out to here. I'm asking you to go, hey, I might as well use my breather to get to cover, and then I'll play from here. This is giving me nothing compared to this, which gives me a little bit of a defensive advantage.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This will heal you. Healing enough. Not yet.
so satisfying.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
he was pretty pissed after that.
Okay. I'd actually walk a little bit in front of your team, not like intentionally to soak for Rein. You don't want to block Anna's sightline on your Rein, but I don't think your team is even aware that you're missing health here, to be perfectly honest. So, like,
yeah.
this becomes a press X, wander up here, get yourself sort of in the way so that Moira cleaves heal you accidentally. Remember, so who's our target? Well, now our target is the Reinhardt with this hook, but who would our target usually be with this hook?
Out of the options I've got, or in general?
Sort of in general of what's, on the enemy team around. Like, I'm not saying from this exact screen. You can be, standing on top of cart for all I care, but, like, let's pretend you're standing on top of cart. Who would you want to be hooking?
Possibly the. Well, I mean, the Reaper's gone into Wraith, hasn't he? So
The
possibly
Reaper's
the
on your
Ryan.
team.
Oh, sorry.
All
Yeah,
good. All
confusing
good.
colors again. Well, yeah, possibly, yeah, Diva again then, because of Matrix
Right.
and such.
You got it. You could hook the Reinhardt right now, or if you could reach her the Moira right now, because even if Diva matrixes it, it'll cancel the ult. But in general, sort of what you'd be looking to do from here would be, hey, I'm looking to get hooks on the Diva. Are you going to DMAC her every time? No, but she's going to pretty regularly get DMAC'd when you pull her in, because you'll get your shot on her before her DM goes off after the hook, and your team will go, oh, look, there's a Diva here for us to shoot at. So you're sort of looking to make her life difficult. Otherwise, she will make your life difficult.
Yeah. Would you prefer that I got the Diva in that situation than the Moira, even though the Moira's ulting, and if I hook her, I can get rid of the hook? Get rid of the
No,
Moira's ult?
I would get the Moira. I would cancel the Moira's ult. If you're confident that you can hook the Moira, hook the Moira. Like, if you're confident that you can cancel an ult, absolutely do it. The Diva doesn't cancel your hook. The Diva cancels the follow-up to your hook, and the hook will still cancel the ults.
Yeah, alright.
Did you not have any shots? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you just made the Roadhog
Yeah, it's
mistake.
a fucking terrible habit as well.
All good. You have to count your shots as Roadhog, because this will happen too often otherwise.
Yeah.
Owie.
I was literally about to take a breather and then I fucking got shot head.
Yeah, no, I get it. It hurts. I mean, you are in a dragon, to be fair. What would cause, this dragon, like, let's relook at this fight. Here you are. You're chasing this Moira, so I totally get it. Great. What am I going to say?
Go off the off angle on the far left.
You got it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an argument for staying here because it makes the Moira more likely to heal you when she's healing your Ryan and you'd like some health. But yeah, what I really want is you to go over here and go, nope, I'm not letting the soldier have this. I'm threatening the soldier. Oh, the soldier backed off? Now I'm threatening from here, and I'm threatening in like this. You're a big, bulky character that can bully off angles.
Yeah. Would you say in that case, because I was on 350 HP, would you say if I were to go over to the left side, should I have taken a breather there to get my healing up really quickly? Because I'm going to be effectively moving away from the Moira, so she might not get me up to full HP.
Yeah.
Or should I just... Yeah, go on. Sorry.
So this would be an off angle that you'd like to sustain. So it would be perfectly reasonable to use a breather here. That said... Excuse me. That said... I am not at all worried about you pressing X a little bit more often or pressing whatever you have I need healing bound to, because your Anna can take shots at you. It's not hard for your Anna to go, you have Anna Moira, there's plenty of healing to go around. As long as you're not just feeding HP to the enemy, there's plenty of healing to go around. If you went, hey, I'm going to wander over to here, I'm going to press X and wait a second, and if I don't get it, so be it. But if I do get it, great, and then I'm going to go play with 450, 500 HP. That's what I'd have said there.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Did I get him there? No, I didn't get him there.
No.
Sorry, no, I was just thinking I might have got the soldier there, but I didn't.
Okay, so this pushes over. You can go for this if you want, but now it's time to leave.
Yeah.
You're literally just wasting time. Okay. This is still wrong. Why is this wrong?
Because I'm just sort of loitering about. I should probably back off and regroup or
Your whole
approach someone
team
from another.
effectively needs to back off and regroup because, like, yes,
Yeah.
you get a little more permission to do this than other people on your team because you have the chance of getting an elimination, of fishing for an elimination, more so than other players on your team. But they've got 6 people that are paying attention to this direction, and you have 4 paying attention in this direction. Even if they don't happen to get eliminations out of it, they're much more likely than your team is to get an elimination because it's a 6v4. Even if neither of you are like committing to this fight, it's a 6v4. There's simply more eyeballs that's more likely to combo into an elimination, to be a Hanzo headshot, etc. So, like, we don't like it, and it's going to cause us, even if they don't get an elimination, to be behind on resources. To have a Moira without Fade, to have a Moira that's low health, to have a Hog without Hook, etc. when our team does show up, and then we're going to have to wait for those resources to come back, and we don't really like that. It would be easier to go, hey, we're down 2, let's back off, wait, and then let's retake the space with 6.
At this point, I was just waiting for somebody to come around the corner so I could do the same thing again.
Yep.
Oh, did I? No, I didn't make it.
It wouldn't have been that hard to make it around here, but that's okay.
Yeah. A bit of a waste.
Kind of. So,
Yeah.
at one level, they got value out of that ultimate, so they're up 1 right now. At another value, they have their rally going, which is going to heavily reduce the damage from this. At a third level, I don't know, like, you've got your Genji striking from here. So, oh no, your Genji's in here. Your Genji's not even back here. This is, like, kind of one-directional. Your team's attack right now is sort of one-directional. If you were, like, whole-hogging from here, sure. Maybe even if you were whole-hogging from here. But, like, this is whole-hogging from the direction that your team is attacking from. You are down 3 people, actually. Whereas they're only down 1 person, it looks like. Like, you're just not going to win this fight. It's not, and you know, you can try, but I wouldn't invest ults into trying to win this fight until you get another elim or 2 through neutral play.
Yeah.
Understood.
Okay. Yeah, she's not going to fall off the edge, but okay.
Yeah. And at this point, I was just like, break.
I get it.
I excited the enemy.
Cool.
Yeah, I see the D.Va tried the DM there.
Yep.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Okay, you guys are just sort of existing. You need to, like, run forward fast because otherwise that Hanzo's angle is too good on you. Okay. Cool. Okay. Again, I wouldn't necessarily back out to here. I'd probably back myself out to over here where I've got this angle. I don't really want to be back with my Reinhardt. Forget my Reinhardt. I don't like him. He smells bad.
I don't know what it was with me this game.
You just
I
think
was
this
just like,
is sort of like, you're just like, this tech exists, so I'm gonna do it every time. Yeah, so does this tech. It's called the friggin' walls.
I don't know. I wasn't like this in other games. I don't know what happened this game.
Okay.
Yeah, that was rubbish. And then I didn't even finish him off. I just said, fine, piss off over there.
Well, that was an interesting hook.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that even worked. 'Cause I got shield as well.
Her shield is kind of questionable sometimes, where it's like, I'm pretty sure that should have blocked that. Yeah, that one it looks like you maybe got it around, but okay, so we're gonna look for a diva hook while we're down 2 people. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Okay. Okay, you're still down 2 people. I don't like this becomes a question of really you should reset, but do you think your team is going to reset if you do? So like there's a little bit of a question to be had here, because if your team simply isn't going to reset, okay, don't. But if you can call for a reset and your team will reset, that's great.
Yeah, I tend to try and look at numbers as much as possible, like kill feed wise, and then I'm like, okay, if we've lost a person, take a while, especially if it's a support, take some time in pushing. But if it's like 2 people or something, then yeah, try and come back. And then that's what I usually say over voice comms. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yep.
And the times where it doesn't, I just kind of have to go with it, really.
Yep. Okay, leave, you're done. And now you're going off angle from your Ryan. I like it. Hopefully he doesn't follow you. Please check on their timing. Please check on their timing. Please check on their timing. Okay. Like, you wanted to have a good feel. You can just see your allies through the wall. I literally just wanted you to turn and look to, like, physically see, is my team ready? Is my team pushing? Is my team ready to push? You got a little bit of a cue from the Hanzo here who, you know, was shooting in this direction to say that, yes, my team was in. But generally, before you open this angle, I would like you to know, hey, where's my team? Like, you can see them through walls. To get your flank timings right, do that so that you know there's going to be a credible threat when I open this angle.
Alright. So they should be pushing in first, and then I'd come in straight after.
Generally,
On
yeah.
the flank.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's going to give you the most probability. It's easier to hit a hook on someone who's not looking, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you hitting a hook is basically an elimination. So it's the sort of thing where it's like my team goes in, maybe half a second after they're in, I come in on my flank, go for my hook. If I get an elimination off that, great. If I don't, I can now continue to be a threat. And if they continue to if they turn and pay attention to me, great, my team does work. If they don't turn and pay attention to me, well, I guess I'll get some right click work done. And if they pay attention to me and do too much, I have breather to sustain, go back behind the wall, etc. And then I can re-peek in another second and force them to pay attention to me again, or get free right clicks until hook's back. That's how you're thinking about it. And it's very hard for them to remove you because you have breather. Like, sending one person to remove you is generally not going to do the job. So they're going to have to disproportionately answer you with resources, which will let your team have a 5v4 while you should still get out alive, etc. Okay. Okay. Again, you can wrench these fights open with these off angles. You can wrench these fights open with these off angles, but that's okay. Oh, I bet I know how this one goes. Okay.
I try to hook that one away from my
You actually
team.
got a little bit of credit for that one, yeah.
Yeah. I try to hook it away from my team, and then I don't know what happened.
All good.
Oh yeah. And I realized at this point it was kind of over.
Yep.
So I was like, why not?
Okay, not a big deal. We'll keep looking, see how the second round goes, obviously. Things that are so far jumping out at us is you need to be thinking more about these off angles. You need to be thinking more about properly resetting rather than just trying to stay in the fight forever when your team goes down and isn't really in a position when they're in anymore, not just poke forever when your team is behind. We need to clean up this breather usage. Those are kind of the 3 biggest. Oh, and then hooking diva would sort of be number 4, but
Yeah.
let's see what we narrow it to, because I'm not actually going to give you 4 things to work on. I'll give you 2 or 3 because I don't want you to try to work on 4 things at once. That won't go well.
Yeah.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
No need to mess about. Smoke 'em out of
Okay, this is going to be close. closer than you want. Get out. Get out. Okay, you don't really want to be here. If you wanted to be here to go for, hey, one max range hook, if I'm happy to hook someone literally at max hook range, get the elimination on them or miss, and then walk away because I'm pretty darn confident I can get out as Hog, and it's worth it to me because, you know, maybe I've got a 30% chance, a 40% chance of getting an elimination. I'll probably feed like 300 HP getting out, but I'm deciding that that's worth it based on my chance of getting an elimination. Fine. You can't just stay here and try to operate around this because it's forcing you to be the front line when their Reinhardt gets here, and you don't really want this close range fight. You could have retreated to here and be like, hey, now I'm playing from here, I'm doing this work while my Rein's here. You could have retreated to your Rein, but you can't really be here at this point in time.
All right.
Get into position.
Okay. Can you get between them to body block? Oh, so close. So close. Cool. I'm surprised you didn't go for a hook there.
I went for it, I think, right after he crossed over because I didn't expect myself to get it if I was that far.
Yeah, so when he repeaks you here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So here we are. I'm good with you here. You obviously don't have hook yet. I'm good not going for the hook there and just throwing the right click. But now he repeaks you. And this repeak, you've got a big enough angle that I would have expected the hook. All good. Again, you can't hold this, and you don't have hook cooldown anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it rhymes.
Leave. Oof. Okay. A little better. Oof.
Yeah, for some reason I thought that was an enemy.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
All good. Okay. You don't have teammates here, so you're waiting to see if there's a re-engage.
I should have got this one here. I don't know how I didn't.
She had a bunch of rally armor. That's how you didn't. To be
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Did, yeah.
And rally armor does quite a bit to reduce. I mean, armor does quite a bit to reduce your damage, and she had like a full 100 rally armor there.
This will heal you.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
Get into position. Stop the payload.
Okay, so here we are.
Stop the payload.
If you really get a good understanding of this point, you're going to understand that this is actually the absolutely critical portion of this point. If you make it so that they can't win here, it's really hard for them to push the cart across here without getting control of this, because you and your team just get to sort of mow them down. Whereas if they don't bother to fight you here and just sort of push the cart to like here and then loop around and go up here, and you guys are down here, they can then send one person to the cart and you basically can't challenge it. So you're not really getting punished for this consistently in gold, but on respawn, your path was actually back up through into here.
All right.
Interesting. So I actually wouldn't have said go push this. I'd have said, wait, there's a Hanzo here, and I have hook. I'm going to go push this. Because, again, just like this Reinhardt was particularly effective shattering from over here, this Hanzo is going to be more effective shooting from here than he would be from here. You would also be more effective hooking from here than you would be hooking from here. So I don't really want you pushing up this. I want you going, I can answer this Hanzo threat. I can fight this Hanzo. I can answer him. I can do this. And that's what I'd like you to do. My Reinhardt already has this covered.
Surrender to my will.
Yeah.
Oh, this was such a stupid moment. I knew he was gonna ult,
Oh!
and I
Yeah.
I used hook earlier.
Yep.
Could have waited for him to stand still. Luckily, he didn't actually get a pick from it.
Fortunate. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I got him now.
All good. You know the mistake you made. You can hopefully recognize it a little faster and not make it next time.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And again, this breather retreat is fine, but tuck the angle a little faster to get behind cover so that she has to, like, you know, actively choose to go follow you around here into the open, etc. And if she doesn't, you've got cover against her.
Yeah.
She'd already really stopped shooting at you by the time you thought about throwing that hook. Breather, breather. Yep. Go take high ground? Go take high ground? No, go for staggers. Staggers are fine. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt, and you go down now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't miss that hook, but also in general, like, there was sort of a moment when you knew you were going to hook here. So here we go, where we're going through this fight. Fine. Force her fade. Force her fade with this. Force her fade with this. All the time in the world. She just used her fade. She doesn't have a dodge anymore. You have all the time in the world to hit this. All the time in the world to hit this. Yeah, unfortunate. So, like, just, you know, try and settle down for that shot a little bit is all I can say, because she's already used her dodge. You can sort of calmly go for it, even though I know there's damage pressure on you. And then after that, hey, this is over. You're going to pop breather, but you can't get out. You're really too deep into the open, and you can see you're too deep into the open. In general, we could be working a little more around playing around our corners, etc. But that's fine. You were going for a stagger. You thought you were going to get the stagger. I totally understand.
Nanoboot is ready to deploy.
What did the balloons ever do to you?
It's so tempting.
I know,
Right,
I know.
just look at them.
Close the angle. Close the angle. As soon as you miss this hook, you're done. You just tuck in here to close the angle. Like, you're done. Close the angle. I don't need you fighting in the open here. You don't have your big heavy threat in the form of your hook. Okay.
Get to you.
Additional appetite. 60 seconds remaining.
Okay, go for your cover. fine. I don't know that I'd have dropped here. I'd have turned around and see, well, how does it look now? Like, did they back off? Did they keep it? But you just immediately drop.
This will heal.
Good. Sort of have cover. Yeah. Okay.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Group up at my position.
Surrender to my will.
Wait for it.
Ooh, that sucks. So you understand you don't want to combo these, right?
I don't want to what, sorry?
You don't want to combo Earth Shatter with Whole Hog?
Yes, because whole hog just kind of boosts them back, and you really want the Ryan to get in and swing his hammer and stuff.
Right,
so,
right. Like, people are such easy targets, they're not moving when they get shattered. Exactly.
Yeah. I kind of realized that when I was doing it. I was like, shit, that's just blasting them all away.
Yep. All good. And now you breather in late. Yep. Don't go back in. You already used breather. You can't live here anymore.
60 seconds.
So he put a scanning arrow. I was like, yeah, why not?
What's that?
I saw he put a scanning arrow, so I was like, yeah, why not?
got
Just
it,
wave
got
him
it,
through
yeah.
the wall.
Go for your mega. Great. Loop again. Okay, no check before you go this way, so be it. Yeah. It's fine. That was played roughly correctly, except not checking there.
Yeah, because I was thinking if I go, there wasn't many options in that situation. I either try and contest and try and hold it, or I go left and get killed by the Reinhardt, or straight.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Okay. So, not a big deal. When we talk about this, the things that I would bring you to focus on is we do want to fix your breather habit. Your breather habit, understand that this is to, let me rephrase this. We want you on off angles more. Like, if we get you on off angles more, you're going to have a better time. What you tried to do at the end there was you playing an off angle. That's great. Now, it was an off angle from a team that didn't exist. But hey, it's a theoretical off angle. We can pretend it exists. So I do want you to think about less playing down main. I want you to play more on off angles. And to pair with this playing on off angles thing, I want you to think about using your breather to sustain you on your angle or to help you sort of retreat out when you're in danger. And then to pair with that as sort of the third thing, I want you playing tighter and closer to cover. I want you more aware of cover. You have a big health pool as Hog, and that's great. That lets you do some things that other people can't do. But that doesn't mean you want to give away that health pool, give away your use of breather quite as easily as you are. You want to be more like, I'm here, I throw my right clicks and my hook. I'm here, I throw my right clicks and my hook. I'm here, I throw my right clicks and my hook. You're doing a little too much, I'm out here. I'm out here.
So sort of like jiggle peeking most of the time.
Yeah, we're going more for jiggle peeking. And like this was okay for one, but you can't then stay here and be like, oh, I'm going to stay here and fight for a bit because I have so much health. No, you're not. You're going to retreat out and then play from here or play from here. So like your Roadhog, I want you to work on things in this order because they're going to sort of naturally happen in this order, and you're going to be so surprised at how the hero works if you do this. I want you to consistently be thinking about taking an off angle from either your other tank or your core group. So like if it's Reinhardt, it might be, hey, my Reinhardt is playing here and I've decided to play over here. My Reinhardt has decided to play here, and I know better than that, so I'm going to play up here. My Reinhardt is pushing and fighting here. Maybe I got control of up here. Maybe we're too deep in and I don't have time to get control of that over here. So I'm going to play from over here. Like, I want you looking for I can threaten this. And if they come and send a bunch of people after you, you have breather, you walk away, etc. 2 or 3 people chase you, and then you just rejoin your team in safety. Like, that's how I want you to think of the hero. Yes, there's a version of Hog where you play with your Reinhardt a lot. You do a bunch of shield break. You do a bunch of, hey, I'm, pressure, etc., etc. But I want you to think very hard about, even when they're just gentle off angles, like my Reinhardt is here and I'm here, my Reinhardt is here and I'm here, I want you to be thinking about playing from these off angles from your other tank or from the core, the backline core group, the McCree sightline, the Hanzo sightline, whatever the case may be. So that's the first thing I want you to do, and I want you to use like 5 to 15% of your brain power to actively be thinking about doing that while playing the game. It might at first cause you to play a little bit worse because that's brain power that would have otherwise been used on tactics and other things like that, but we're going to make you sort of habitualize playing these off angles, playing this flank hog, and once you have worked that into your autopilot of sorts, you're just naturally, your base state of play is naturally going to be a bit better because you're going to do that without thinking, and then that mind power will be available for tactics while you're playing the game in a better state. So that's the first thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
After we've done this first thing, we're then going to get to, hey, I'm looking to, I'm not looking to use, it should be very easy then to go, I'm trying not to just use my breather in the middle here and sustain. That should be easy because I'm looking to go, hey, when I use breather, I'm retreating, or I'm sustaining an off angle. I might go, oh, I did work, etc., but they're not really pushing me, so I'm going to just use a breather here and then go right back to work. But in general, your breathers are sort of retreating breathers, especially if you're here, it's a retreating breather and it's a retreat to cover, where it's like, hey, I'm taking a breather and I'm retreating to cover. I'm retreating to some level of safety. I'm not just breathering to sustain in the open or breathering to sustain with my team in main. If I'm breathering, I'm almost certainly turning around and retreating. The exception would be, well, I'm behind cover. I'm on this angle. They're not pushing me. They just shot me. Let me use my breather so I can get back to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right.
And then our third thing, after you've done those two things, is I want you in general to play tighter on cover. Even if you go, hey, we're moving forward, we're cleaning up. Like I was playing from here, my team was playing from here, we're winning the fight, and now it's a 6v3, so I'm walking out to clean up, and now your angle sort of joins the team, so you have much less of an off angle. I still want you to be thinking about it, as much as you can, in general, thinking about I'm playing tighter to cover. I'm playing tighter to cover. I'm playing tighter to cover, doing this jiggle peek thing. And the second and third adjustment should be very easy if you do the first adjustment first, because you'll find yourself in places where there's cover available, in places where you're not trying to do breather in the middle of nowhere. But if you do this first thing, the other two should follow pretty easily, and you'll kind of lead yourself to pretty quickly get better at 3 things that are going to help your hog play quite noticeably. So that's sort of the package of how I'd work on your hog. That's the order I'd work on the things in to get better at your hog. And, based on what we saw in this game, that should give you the most improvement on this hog. Now, it's possible if we looked at 5 other games, we'd see, oh, wait, no, you have a much bigger issue somewhere else. But based on what was showing up in this game, these are the things that are most important for you to work on. And you definitely will become a better hog if you can get these things into your autopilot, can get these things to the point where you're doing them without thinking, so that you then have that brain power ready to work on the fourth thing you want to improve on, or to work on your tactics if you're seeking a new SR peak, etc. So I think that about covers it, but if you have any questions either about any of those topics, about Overwatch in general, about this game, anything like that, I can take a couple minutes and answer, so go ahead.
It's not really much. So the first, sorry, I was just reiterating over the points you made. So the first thing was, off angles, try and use them a lot and try and stay away from the main tanks, because they'll be, the sort of front line, but you'll be the flanking, well, not necessarily flanking, but, off tank type of guy. The second one was, whilst I'm taking a breather, just dip into cover and try and hold a sort of corner or an angle, or just dip into cover and then retreat completely, depending on the situation at the time.
Yes.
Right?
You shouldn't just be using breather in the open. If you're using breather in the open, you're using it in the open to immediately retreat back to cover, back to your team, etc.
And the third thing was what was the third thing
The
again? Sorry.
third thing was cover in general. I want you playing tighter to cover in general. You're a little too
Ah,
happy to be in the open. If you're playing on the off angles, that should almost come naturally, but I still on the off angles want you playing in a place where it's just a step and you have cover again.
okay. All right. So try and look for sort of, yeah, it kind of just links back to the first point where I try and look for off angles where there's sort of, doors that go off to the side that allow me to get to cover, or, rock on the left, or
Yep.
something along those
But
lines.
but
Uh,
to be clear, the off angles won't always be perfect. Like if
yeah,
you
yeah,
might not have an off angle, you might not have an off angle with a doorway like these that we talked about. Like let's say that your Rhine is holding here. You might have to go, well, I'm holding here. I don't really have a doorway, or I'm going to try to get here to be an off angle. Or maybe if we're going the other direction, your Rhine is pushing in like this, and let's pretend that there's not a door here, and you have to sort of play on this. Where like this is still a little bit of an off angle, so I'd way rather you be here than here with your Reinhardt. But like, I want you playing towards the cover, if you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I get what you mean.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, I suppose. Yeah, that is about it. Would you say that depending on like, so if I pick Roadhog
Mhm.
in most of my, if not all of my comp games, unless, for example, somebody picks it on the odd occasion,
Sure.
would you say that then the general success rate of the match, or the general success rate of a round, for example, is dependent on the team that is picked around me, so the characters that are picked around me, or would you say it's just based on the things we've gone through today?
Well, it's not just based on the things that we've gone through today. Like, you have a huge amount of influence on the match. You have less influence on an Overwatch match than you do on many other competitive type games because of how Overwatch is designed. It has some things where it's like, hey, here's a solution that you can't really solve because your team is staggering like mad, and it's really hard to play around that. You try to sync up with them, or the opponents have picked like super heavy tank counters, and your team is just doing very little to make them difficult by picking, say, their own poke heroes to punish those things. Like Overwatch is just designed like that, and it's a little bit frustrating. But in general, what happens is, yes, if you get better at doing things in Overwatch, if you keep building the correct habits to play the game better, it is very hard to not win significantly more games over time. Like that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to make you better at what you are better at playing the hero. And when you get better at playing the hero, and if you're working to get better at playing at the hero, you're going to gain SR without even realizing it. We're not necessarily going, hey, we're trying to hit our new peak of diamond, or we're trying to hit masters, etc. Right now, what we're doing is I want to get better at playing my off angles. I want to get better at breather. I want to get better at using my whole hog. I want to get better at my matchup versus diva. Like those are the things that's sort of what you want to be playing the game to do, and then the SR comes secondary. But if terms of like, if you do these things, will you get better? Yeah, you will absolutely get better.
All right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, because I was it's sort of that sort of idea, like you said before. If they're playing heavy tank counters such as Reaper, Doomfist, May, or if it's Hog specifically, Sombra,
Mm-hmm.
McCree to stop his self healing, for example.
Sure.
And my team aren't, or more specifically, my DPS aren't picking sort of counters to their DPS. Then it can kind of get frustrating, because I'm kind of
Sure.
like,
It can get frustrating.
yeah, like what?
Overwatch
Yeah,
isn't
and
too much a game of counters though, and on ladder, the truth is also Roadhog is one of the heroes who's a little more immune to tank counters getting picked. Like some of the main tanks just have a rough time. Roadhog can solve a lot of the tank counters. His matchup against Reaper isn't terrible, for example. He, is perfectly happy to fight Junkrat, and he actually has a good matchup against Doomfist. I would say he has a better matchup. He does have a better matchup against Doomfist
yeah,
than Doomfist has
I would
against
say as
him.
well.
So like, and I wouldn't get too caught up in the counter table thing. I was just using that as an example where it can get frustrating when, okay, like can we like pick a Widow or a Pharah to deal with the fact that they're running Reaper Junkrat at us? Come on, guys, come on, you get the idea.
Yeah, it's been a few times where, like, not recently, definitely not recently, but before, when I started sort of to get into Hog, and like every time I hooked someone, for example, I wasn't killing them immediately because I
Sure.
wasn't aiming low enough, because
Yeah.
yada yada. But when I was started playing Hog a bit more, the thought process that was going through my mind is, okay, this is the guy I'm gonna pick when my DPS aren't doing their jobs
Got
because
it.
he's like he's an obviously at the time it was very dodgy thinking, but because he's a sort of off tank
Hmm.
and he's really good at DPSing because self healing, hooking people in,
Hmm.
insta killing, that sort of stuff. And there have been times where I'm in a comp game and we're playing like they're playing Fire Mercy, for example, and we're playing like let's say we're on defense on King's Row or something.
Hmm.
We're playing Symmetra Junkrat, and I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck are we going to deal with that flying Fire Mercy? They're going to kill us right now.
Sure.
And pretty much the only threat we've got against them is me hooking either one of them in, probably the Mercy, hooking either one of them in, killing them. But like, I don't
Yeah.
have a 100% guarantee of hooking them in because they're flying
Yeah.
everywhere.
So the
So
real answer
yeah,
is like if you want to know how to win that game, the real answer actually has more to do with, well, what is your team willing to work with you on? If they're not willing to work with you on switches, are they willing to work with you on taking fights fast? Because if they're willing to work with you on taking fights fast and you're running, I don't know, what did you say, Junk Sim, Sim Reaper, something like that, you can still
yeah,
very much win against pharmacies. You just have to go, everyone play in cover, everyone play in cover, everyone play in cover. Okay, go now. And you just run over their front line because that's what you've built your team to do. And you can swap to D.Va if you want to make that even easier because you can choose to deny that pharmacy value for 3, 4, 5 seconds while your team runs over their front line. But yes, there is frustration to be had there. I understand.
yeah. Yeah, that was pretty much it, I suppose. In terms of questions, yeah, I suppose I'll probably take all of that away and do some work on it over the next few days, and if necessary, I'll get another session got
Sounds
up.
good. You know how to
Yeah,
reach me. Talk to you soon, man.
yeah, will do. Will do.
Good luck.
See ya. Take care.
Bye.